Welcome back to the North American Regional Qualifier and our battle for the final spot at Worlds. Right now, the series is tied up with Team Liquid and Cloud9 each on the board with 1 win. We got a best of 3 on our hands now. No reverse sweep can happen anymore, gentlemen. That is kind of a relief for Team Liquid now, but Cloud9 also find themselves down and out after a loss.
Yeah, we talked about how much pressure was going to be on Team Liquid, especially after that first win and the momentum that Cloud9 has had from the 2 reverse sweeps. But they're able to push through it. And like you said before, very emotional team. With this win under their belt, they're going to be like, this is the formula. Let's put Phoenix back on something that helps us carry, ditch the Lulu, and put Dom on teamfighters. I feel like teamfighting is going to be the way that they win this series. Even though Cloud9 back in the day was known for their teamfighting and shot calling, it's a very different Cloud9 today. They always struggled when they grouped up as 5. If they didn't have a gigantic lead, they weren't really going to do it. We saw team fights not go their way when they grouped up as 5, when they grouped up as 4. So I feel like having that advantage is going to
Well, yeah, if they have the double teleport team, the team fights are obviously they're going to be a bit weaker in those. So it is down to the comps, and Team Liquid are back on blue side. So they're the ones that get the more free bans because they don't have to spend them on Azir and things like this. So
Karma.
Yeah, exactly. So. Karma. They definitely don't have to spend them on Karma, ever.
So coming into this game, looking at kind of seeing Team Liquid's ability to create high-pressure moments and come out on top. Phoenix making plays, stealing Baron, Piglet as well, kind of stealing Baron. I feel like if Liquid can break into a late game where things get indecisive, they come up with those moments. That's kind of their reverse sweep they bring into the game. Cloud9 is going to have to come out strong early here, and High was doing that a little bit last game. Full kill participation on assists, but it doesn't seem like the lanes are able to work with anything too much in the early game for Cloud9 just yet.
Yeah, Cloud9 seem like a team that definitely need a lead early to start transitioning into mid and then having the shot calls off of that. They do have some comeback strategies where High will make the desperate shot call and then it'll turn out for them on Barons. But
it seems like that has to happen.
Yeah, but when you look at Team Liquid, this is a team that finished the regular split in first place. They're the team that has been through a lot, and they've played from deficits. They've been able to come back, and it's usually off of their team fighting prowess. But using High, you have to use them early game, you have to use them mid game, you have to use them late game. There's a lot coming from High in this entire series.
I'm actually really focused on Sneaky because he was the hero for Cloud9 in game number 1. And game number 2, I really do feel like it came down to play because Vayne's actually better than most AD carries at dealing with that really scary Gragas and Alistar. But he was tumbling forward and he would get walk forward into Gnar ultimates and stuff like that. So I think there's a lot of pressure on his shoulders, and we know that he has it in him to carry the team.
And he's been the mechanical catalyst for them in their last best of 5 as well. When Sneaky performed well, they were winning the games. When he was getting camped and 4 people were in his lane, he was definitely shut down, and then Cloud9 seemed to fall by the wayside, even if Incarnation had a good performance.
Well, we'll see how both teams perform here. They are just about set. Let's head over to our casters after a quick word from High as he tells us what it's like to lead Cloud9.
When I play with the other 4 players, they all can trust in the things I do and decide. So as the games play out, whether we're 0-2 or whether it's 50 minutes in, the decisions that I choose to make, they trust on that. And I feel like they just have a lot of faith in me to bring them a victory, even though things look grim. And over time, they've just gotten really accustomed to the way I play, and they just play around that really well.
Yeah, I think High's definitely been a worthy leader for this team. He's now, 2 games away from bringing them to Worlds for the 3rd time in a row. He's definitely an amazing leader.
Yeah, Team Liquid as well, though they're 2 games from Worlds for their first trip as well. So both these teams going to have a lot of confidence in each other. They're going to have to follow the calls that are made, and they definitely need the familiarity playing with each other as well if they want to succeed.
And we'll see which team can come out ahead in this one. Game 1, very interesting, playing around a Draven composition, and well, C9 got Sneaky ahead. Game 2 looked business as usual for Team Liquid, though. You can see right off the bat, the Draven ban might mean Liquid wants to play Vayne for themselves.
Yeah, also the Kalista ban early from Cloud9 means we'll see an Azir ban later, most likely. I really hope we don't see Phoenix's Azir in this series.
Liquid fans do.
I mean, I'm sure Phoenix would love to see Phoenix's Azir. It's just never going to happen.
Yeah, it's true.
It'll be first pick if it ever goes through ban phase, that's for sure.
I think that's absolutely certain. Nidalee still banned away by Liquid. Interesting that they're actually afraid of High's Nidalee here in this set. They are going to go for that Gragas, not a surprise here. They're saying, you know what, High, go ahead, play that Elise again. It didn't work very well for you last time.
Yeah.
Happy to get that one up. And I do think this actually makes sense. Tuning in very quickly to what these teams are doing well with, what champions are succeeding based on the styles we see, and I do like this Gragas.
Yeah, and even though Dominate is a good Nidalee, it just wasn't working against Cloud9's heavy tank compositions. as well. Dominate just has so much familiarity with Gragas on the competitive stage recently. Also did really well against Sneaky's Vayne, so it means they have less to fear with that pick as well if they lock in Gragas early.
And we know we can always go back to Echo as well if Cloud9 realizes they need to steal or ban that away. So we'll see what the champion pools end up being over time. But right now, Liquid looking good heading into Game 3 off a single champion pick. I know it's kind of outlandish, but Cloud9 making their choices. Dub-a-dub, making sure C9 doing the right things for their first round. In normal C9 style, don't hover everything to the last 2 seconds, then pick them at the same time. Braum, Vayne, wow, so C9 really keying onto this champion. Didn't work last time, happy to play it again.
Yeah, I mean, there could also be a certain fear factor here that Team Liquid still has Lulu on the board, so if they were to do Lulu Vayne, they wouldn't have the same displacement to isolate the Vayne like they did in the first game, so can't fault Cloud9 too heavily for that choice. Even though Vayne wasn't much of a threat in the regular season for North American LCS, especially with how many tanks are in the meta right now. And if we look at the pick priority around the world, for instance, it was banned against Bang from SKT in all 3 games of the LCK finals. Sneaky and Piglet as well, both proficient Vayne players. So it explains the early priority for Vayne in this series.
Yeah, it does. And we'll see what else happens now as we get through the rest of this series. Team Liquid going to pick the exact same composition so far as the previous game, and Gnar and Victor are still up. So TL could just run the same comp and beat Vayne up the exact same way. Now, if Cloud9 thinks it wasn't a compositional issue, then C9 might be happy with that. But we'll see how this game ends up playing out. 25 seconds left for C9 to make their choice. They can steal the Victor away. The Lulu, again, as you mentioned a second ago, is up, and that might be the big key that makes Incarnation feel good about this.
I want to see some Shyvana. I want to see him go Shyvana Lulu right now, and then wait for the last pick top lane counter pick for balls. I feel like the most useful counter picks, at least in the last patch, is the top lane counter picks. They do nothing close to what I wanted to see, but they still go with Rumble and Echo.
All right, so Cloud9 go for a team fighting comp themselves, and I actually do somewhat like this. The more sort of disruption and scariness you have in your composition, the harder it is for a team to pin down onto Vayne. Like, imagine diving her through an Echo Stun or through an Equalizer. Yeah. It gets a whole lot harder. So C9 looking for something a bit more aggressive from their frontliners. Rumble and Echo picked up. TL do pick the exact same 5 champions in practically the same order as they had in the last game here.
Yeah.
TL thought it worked.
Cloud9 has a tendency of this already from even Saturday. In the first 3 games against Gravity, Gravity played a total of 6 different champions.
That's right.
So when Cloud9 adapts to something or changes to something, it's very rarely in trying to dissuade what the enemy does, but instead just changing their own game. And here at least we see a couple new picks here with Rumble and Echo that they think will work better against Team Liquid's identical team composition.
Yeah, and that's been how C9 is playing best of 5s. It's not that they're banning out the champions. Right? We saw, for example, Soraka go through twice for Impulse before they banned it away. It was C9 instead changing the composition they would play around it, as you're pointing out. So C9 changed the composition. Yep, the Orianna comes through, teamfight mage. So here we go. It's a very aggressive AoE team with a Vayne cleanup instead of a big frontline protect the Vayne. Yeah, 180 carry champion's the same, but the intent of the rest of the champions all very different.
Yeah, a lot of damage. They're going to try and punish Phoenix for being a somewhat stationary mage, as you know, even though he can get pretty nimble once he starts spamming his spells. If they catch him with 1 bit of CC, they would have the follow-up to close down on him. I like the Orianna out of Incarnation. I think it's one of his best champions.
I definitely
Really
agree.
strong laning phases. Also works as a strong enabler for High, since High likes to get himself in trouble sometimes.
We'll see what else can happen now with these guys as C9 make their way onto the Rift alongside Team Liquid. This is going to be interesting as we move into Game 3. 1-1 is the scoreline, but this game is for match point. Coaches share their final remarks with their teams.
Not for match point.
The game winning gives you match point.
Winning
that was awkward.
Match point.
That was awkward. I agree. That was silly. I apologize for that line. Coaches show.
It's 1-1.
It's 1-1. Winner goes up 2-1, which means the winner is poised to take the series home. I've now backtracked and gotten the quote out properly. Now you guys at home, keep those votes coming our way. Tweet hashtag TLWin or hashtag C9Win. Let us know who you think is going to be heading to Worlds, because that is what's on the line here. Either team are 2 wins away from making it to the World Championship, joining Counterlogic Gaming, joining TSM, joining the newcomers Origin, who have qualified earlier today. And here we go with Game 3.
Yes. If one team can win the next 2 games, as we have stated, they go to Worlds.
I will say that at least 5 more times today.
Oh, many more times than that.
That's true. Well, just me personally.
You never know.
Throughout the broadcast, it'll be like 15.
Welcome to Summoner's Rift.
Yeah, early game here. Team Liquid was outgamed a little bit in the past early game. Dominate had his red invaded and then could not counter invade the enemy red. So that set him back just a little bit, but not too badly. Do need to point out, of course, both supports still taking exhaust. So it's difficult to really dive in there, but it's not like we have a assassin-y champion in this game, so the exhaust doesn't have as much potency as it did in the last matchup.
Yeah, you have to like try to reach the victor before his burst comes out, which are practically instant casts. That's unlikely. Elimination really walking forward because he wants the ward, but it's going to be so easily killed. And they're going to get both. Yep. Oh. 20 gold earned by the bottom lane of Team Liquid. Yeah, that was a bit silly.
Yeah, nice ward clearing.
Yeah. Dominik gets an aggressive ward of his own. That one's going to stick around, but Incarnation trying to show up. A 3-on-3 on the top side just means damage.
Yeah, small little trades. Phoenix starts with his Q. It's actually what I prefer is the first skill point on Victor. You see people do either one, Q or E. You get a slightly better wave clear, but Q is just really good trading early on in the lane. So easy to get level 2 anyway as a mid laner.
Yeah. Especially if, well, if you have someone setting up Raptors for you, you definitely go with the E. And then you get level 2 really fast, but
yeah,
first wave, not so hard. High and Ball is going to start up in the top side of the map. High will take the big Krug, and they're going to share XP for, looks like, the next 2 camps. Phoenix last hitting away. Does like 30 damage to that Q. Get the shield, block some damage, and all is well on this side. Both duo lanes did start in their respective jungles. Double Krugs for Team Liquid, the Gromp for C9.
Yep, and they reach the lane at the same time. Both Relic shield the same minion in their respective waves.
Ooh.
Ball's maximizing his efficiency since he's going to recall anyways.
Didn't even level a skill point to recall.
Not even close.
Gonna wait on it. All right, so I'm going to get some easy farm going. The next Q will clear away the small Raptors and all as well. Incarnation early push lead. He knows he's safe for now. We'll see if Phoenix loses almost any farm at all. Balls back in the top lane, 1 CS, Quas with 2. They will join up with 5 potions apiece.
Nice. So we get to see standard lanes from the get-go this time.
Same as game 1. Now, Quas is interesting. I looked at his rune page after the last game. He's running 54 magic resist, or 24 flat MR on his rune page against AP lanes. That's MR quints as well as glyphs. I find that interesting. So it's a very defensive get up from him. He really wants to survive the laning phase and never get bullied out.
Yeah, as far as efficiency, like magic resist quints and armor quints are some of the most efficient when compared to their base rune of the blue or the yellow regard. MR is a little bit less efficient since armor yellows are just so bad.
Yeah.
Of being flat efficiency. Either way, it means Quas can trade quite well with the Flame Spitter of Balls.
He'll be, yeah, I mean, it's going to be hard for Balls to push him around. The push lead is still going to happen early on until Quas gets some attack damage. You just don't clear the minions as fast as Flame Spitter. But we're going to watch how that matchup unfolds. Bottom lane 2-on-2, fairly close as well. Piglet, the temporary lead on this one. Exact same matchup as last time, actually, and last time it played out as a roughly 15-minute turret kill.
This was after the swap back, however. So Piglet had already had a Sheen by the time they swapped back and could use that poke. Even so, Corki is pretty strong against Vayne early on here. It'll really depend on gank pressure. The turret pushing is greater by Team Liquid, so if they want to have a pressure advantage and just trade farm with relative safety, they can do so.
They seem to try to go for the trades here. Elimination blocking the damage on the way through, and that means Sneaky takes very little. Just splitting the health regen bits between both Cloud9 members here. Sneaky refuses to use his health potion. He thinks he will sustain up just fine. Without the threat of Ignite, you really don't need to chug the potions, really. You're not under any actual burst threat. So if the chance is there that you do regen back up, then it's a useless potion. Really, really minor optimization. It really depends on the matchup, and in this case, I think it's correct.
It also depends on when you level, because if you're lower on health when you level, you don't gain as much health from the level.
Yeah, true. Current health. In case anyone was wondering, your max health still goes up the same amount.
Yeah.
Just in case someone wasn't aware. Here comes the attempt for the gank from Echo, and he will not quite tag the stun onto Phoenix. That would have been a couple hundred damage, and Phoenix forced to walk away. Now these two will fight for the Scuttle Crab. High does not have Smite, but he last hits it. Oh. Takes it away from Dominate.
That one stings if you're a jungler. You spend all the time to get the Scuttle Crab down. And it's a hefty chunk of gold because both these guys have upgraded their jungle items, so they get the 30 bonus gold every time they kill a major jungle monster. The Scuttle Crab counts as one. Not to mention the base gold from the Scuttle Crab and the power they get from now having a speed shrine in the middle. But immediately,
bit of a trade Dominate coming around, and Kratos has nowhere to go. He's going to flash to the side, but his special's there.
Wrong
Hits
way.
the headbutt, pulverize. The shield comes in, but still nowhere to retreat to. One last laser hit. Has to use the exhaust, actually. A lot used, especially takes a turret shot, and High wants in, but the shield lands without stun.
Yeah, such a peculiar play that happened right there. Incarnation had a sense of security because High had just pushed Dominate off the Scuttle Crab and then invaded his jungler, so he's like, yeah, Dominate's not even close here. Yeah. But instead he gets double roamed on by Gragas and Alistar.
Rough stuff there. So that's going to feel good. Team Liquid already getting first blood 6 minutes into the game. Dominate still milling about his jungle. He's going to easily take away these Krugs without much issue here. So Team Liquid gotta feel good about this one. Level 6 on Phoenix. High has to hold the mid lane wave, so he'll get plenty of golden XP himself, but it does mean Incarnation's in a bit of a bad way. Amp Tome second Doran's Ring on his first recall.
Yeah, not exactly where you want to be. The second Doran's Ring, though, is a defensive optimization here for the Orianna. He knows he's going to have to be pretty conservative and split this lane, since not only did he die, he burned his flash. Gotta really credit Team Liquid for the timing on that gank, though.
Yeah.
They really just, Special arrived at just the right time.
One thing that really helps is also the lane matchup they're in, because Braum Vayne is not only not very aggressive, but Corki's one of the safest 1v2 AD carries, so oftentimes you're like Jinx against like a Zyra or something silly, or like a Leona, like you just have to lose 2 waves as your support roams. And,
yeah.
So even the matchup helping that.
Yeah. Oftentimes as well, the mark of a good team is not just about how they gank, but the way the jungler and the support play together. Very much they fill similar niches in the match, especially at the highest level of play. The supports sometimes gank more than the junglers do. Their ability to work together, ward together, fight together, very, very important. And Team Liquid uses that jungle and support synergy to pull off that gank. I mean, the whole reason it worked is X Special was over the wall that Incarnation would have initially flashed through, and it allowed to push him right into I Will Dominate.
Wow. He was half second away from missing that. Barrel would have flown up on its own without Dominate trying. And we saw also Special also roam towards mid for a Sightstone ward in the bottom right side of mid, that river brush there. So Special actually continuing to help mid lane even when he's not there anymore. Just spending part of his Sightstone to keep that lane afloat. We check back on the top lane, and actually Ball's very far ahead, but Dominate's still around, and oh my god, the damage output, nothing he could have done. Dom snags the kill despite a CS deficit. A great kill for Quas and Dominate.
Yeah, and honestly a pretty easy game.
Yeah.
Balls was pushed up very, very hard. He had been bullying that matchup for most of it, so he was trying to play with that advantage. But as you mentioned, the 54 magic resist that Quas started with, as well as the Spectre's Cow, made that not very risky. Phoenix, though,
wants to go in. Incarnation survives just long enough to not really die to Chaos Storm. Good flash by Phoenix, gets out from Chaos Storm, and that means High has to get out, though, as Phoenix is going to get away safely, loses summoners, but survives the game.
Yeah, nice attempt, I would say, by Cloud9, but flashing that Shockwave, good timing by Phoenix, make sure he does not lose his life, and it just kind of makes Team Liquid's early game seem clean.
Although, despite all the kills, Cloud9 very, very tight in gold income. High's been farming up quite a lot. He's basically tied with Dominate despite the 1-0 and 1 Gragas score. And of course, you still see that 17 minion lead for Balls here. So different contributors now from Cloud9. High is actually winning the farm game without playing Shyvana, and Balls actually winning his lane for the first time, I believe, all series.
Yeah, really true. A lot of the time that Dominate spent was farming or ganking. He only got an assist off the first kill, so he couldn't complete his Cinderhulk at the same pace that High did. That's allowed High to continue to farm faster. Balls, although he was punished heavily for pushing up, had been rewarded previously for pushing up by his CS advantage. And yeah, as you said, keeps the gold close.
High going for pieces of a, or not High, sorry, Balls going for pieces of a arm guard next, but right now it's bot lane that's the interesting part, as Piglet's going to push this wave into the turret. And High just recalled, so Dominate's going to be here for the easy gang.
They don't know that High just recalled, so they're respecting the counter gank a little bit. That's why Dominate's running the big loop around. He's like, is this guy really not even here? I'm thinking about it. They know they can be matched teleports as well from both the Gnar and the Rumble, so they're a little bit hesitant to go in here. He comes in the long way around.
And they're going to get around it. Nice. That shield blocks Explosive Cask. No way to outplay it there. Equalizer's beautiful. It's still on Dominate. He's nearly gone. One more tick. A special flash without the stun either, and somehow Team Liquid survives. A great TP by Balls. All said and done, nothing happens.
Yeah, the Equalizer did so much work there to dissuade the gank, and also Cloud9 was a little bit suspicious. That's why Sneaky and Lemon were so far from the turret at the beginning of that. As you mentioned, a nice shield by Lemon Nation to block the Explosive Cask. And Cloud9 ends up not getting punished. Both teleports are traded, and honestly, the gold stays pretty much the same.
What a high-level game, though. Everyone's playing, I think, as perfectly as you possibly can. Anyone misplay means 2 to 3 kills come out to the other side, and so far, very solid stuff through in this match. Tied gold game despite the kills. C9 getting back into their assigned lanes. And the top laner is walking back as well. Spectre's Cowl and half Hex Drinker versus a half an Arm Guard and a Haunting guy. So itemizing offensively and defensively for both these players.
Incarnation's going to be sitting on a pretty hefty chunk of gold. He's around 1,700 right now.
Oh, man.
He had to do that defensive back really early on, and has really just been trying to trade his farm ever since that point. He should be recalling shortly, as he does that right now, knowing that Phoenix had just gone back to base and was going to be in a pretty big power spike.
This will allow him to buy the components of the Themes and
oh,
will
so
help
close.
Combine.
Yeah, if he hadn't picked up that Doran's Ring earlier on, he would be able to complete his Athenes right now.
That's true.
But the Doran's Ring also helped him stay in the lane up until this point.
It might have even meant CS, so yeah, it's hard to debate the point, unfortunately. Phoenix, though, going for the build he pretty much always does on Victor in AP lanes. It's a 1 upgrade into the early Abyssal Scepter to make sure he can't get bursted out, and as long as you can't move Victor away, he's doing whatever he wants.
Yeah, I love the build. It means he can clear the wave super quickly, and also he has defensive characteristics, so if he clears the wave, he's harder to punish while he's pushed up a little bit.
The MR stacked with the shield, like just a lot of good reasons for Victor to care about this kind of a build here. Good things for him. Incarnation, exactly tied in farm as we go 12.5 minutes in, and it's the early pushing from Orianna. We'll see if he can roam around first. As the matchup continues, Sneaky and Lemon are going to swap their way back to the top lane. Very interesting. High. Oh, wow. Spotted by the Boomerang. Quas, clever play. The ward comes across the wall as well, and C9 realized that there's at least 2 people in this lane.
Yeah, it's most likely going to meet a turret trade or at least a battle in here. They're going to go for a dive anyway, but there's some support coming through.
He's going to land the stun. Quas didn't respect it nearly enough as Dom.
They got to back away. There's a lot of people here.
Stun landing. Yeah, good luck with this one. High presses R, walks back away. Top lane outer does go down.
Yeah, this trade, in my opinion, actually benefits Team Liquid because they got the solo turret experience as well as the solo farm to Piglet, and they have to, Team Liquid also gets to continue pushing, whereas Cloud9 has to recall in mass to get back to base. So a lot of time somewhat lost, more efficiently spent by Team Liquid. Team Liquid can just go right back to farming from their collapse, whereas Cloud9 had to reset.
I do really like this. So 1v0 versus a 3v4. Okay, both turrets go down, but the 1v0 can, as you mentioned, push that second wave in. And good things for the Team Liquid squad here. Piglet,
he's
very close
to
level 9. Yeah, tries to work the shit out of the money. He's actually, no, he's 75 gold shy. He sells potions and he's going to wait in base for it.
Yeah, he's going to sell all his potions probably to get enough, because he was sitting on like 3 health potions in a monopot.
Yeah, and exactly 1100.
And he didn't want to overstay too long. Being able to hit that power spike is so important.
All right, so there we go. Sub 14-minute Trinity Force for Piglet. Blade of the Rune King Force already done for Sneaky's Vayne. No money left on him, though, so no other items will come through. The Dragon is up 14 minutes in the game. No one's taken it just yet. And we'll see, though, with these new items coming through, if that's going to be a push for Team Liquid. Phoenix can afford a Blasting Wand, but not the full Abyssal Scepter, if that was to be a build, as Athenes is already done for Incarnation.
Yeah, honestly, decently powerful teams right now. If Cloud9 is tracking the teleport timer of Quas, they'll know that they have the teleport advantage for ever so slightly.
It's almost easy to track because Balls TP at the same time, but to a turret, so it's exactly 1 minute. When Balls has it, they know they got 60 seconds to play around Quas.
So they should be timing it, but at the same time, there could be other priorities.
Balls is waiting in the brush. The bot lane pushes in. This could be the like right now would be the time you could go for it, and it wouldn't be stopped.
Both these teams have pretty strong dragon fighting as well, but Cloud9 definitely sets their eyes on this turret in a big way.
Instead of Dragon, they go for the fight itself. The turret's going to go down, and no one's going to stop this, as Balls is going to be too threatening. There is the turret, so C9 actually playing a slightly longer con. Dragon could be next.
But with Qua still sitting in the top lane, this could very well be a turret for Dragon Force, and it really depends on how much damage Incarnation takes in that lane, or anyone from Cloud9 takes, because they want to start this Dragon right now, and a fight is imminent. Quas's teleport will be up shortly.
It's like right now, so here we go. The Dragon taking a lot of damage. Incarnation joins the team, and Phoenix will not show. And if they play around the barrel, oh, dear Lord, that was close. Okay.
Nothing to see here. Dragon is secured.
All is well. I mean, it should be another player that could steal a Baron or a Dragon from Team Liquid. Phoenix and Piglet's already done it. I'm sure Dom has at some point in his career. But
oh, yeah. Dom is the master of smite in a lot of instances.
That's true.
Really, really solid smiter. But honestly, Team Liquid just goes for the turret trade. It also means they maintain their teleport advantage. And trading first Dragon for a turret is a very acceptable trade.
Okay, so turrets equal. Both side lanes missing their outers. Those are now very, very long and very unsafe lanes for either team to be a part of. That could be very interesting to watch for. Mid lane still trading back and forth, nearly equal. Abyssal Scepter Dawn on one side. The Orianna has some money. And we'll head towards Sork Shoes on the pickup. I do like upgrading boots on Orianna pretty early. His actual movement speed is pretty valuable on her, getting into range for shockwaves and ball combos and whatnot. Mid lane under fire though, and it's going to be Team Liquid there first, and actually no defense available off Incarnation recalling. Team Liquid gets the push.
Yeah, great rotation there by Team Liquid, using this Trinity Force on Corki to take down the turret much more quickly. Corki isn't known as a great turret taker in the late game because of his short range, but as soon as he picks up Trinity Force, because he gets all the damage from the Trinity Force proc, he's actually a tremendous mid-game turret pusher.
Absolutely true. Corki spikes really hard, really early, and that's going to be a good feeling. So Piglet reveals that the Vayne has recalled, knows he's safe to power farm this and push it back out. It's actually very rare for AD carries to freeze lanes this late into the game.
Yeah.
Typically see him push, then show up for something else. Special reward, stops the recall, whatever.
Going to be a big pressure game from here on out, knowing that the outer turrets are mostly taken down. As to be expected, though, Phoenix has had good pressure in the mid lane. Also with his Victor, one of the hardest champions to push against, nearly instantly clearing the way with his Death Ray, as we're about to see. There go 5 minions. Yeah, that's why his turret's still alive.
Yeah, because the minions never exist. Victor definitely one of the best wave clears. Braum good at defending turrets if he's there in time with backup, but so far it's not really been the case for Elimination. He's been late to the party, or his teammates have been. Team Liquid now looking to play a little bit more aggressively into the jungle. Clearing away what C9 wards they can. They get a deep pink. That won't live very long, I expect. They do reduce some of the vision. They're actually playing around Piglet, who has already gotten a little bit of work done on that bottom tier 2 turret. And in fact, they've cut off both High and Lemonation. He cannot really join his team on the bot side easily. Maybe bot lane tier 2 gets hit up.
I mean, Team Liquid is working with this pressure advantage. Ever since they got that mid turret, they've been getting some nice wards here. It's a lot of pressure on High to get the wards out of his jungle. Phoenix cuts him off, though. High's a little bit trapped, and he doesn't want to ult back because that just puts him back into trouble as well.
Gets the shield shockwave again, flashed away by Phoenix, and High loses more health with his ulti already burned. Gets his shield in for the mid laner, and that's going to be it. But now it's a switch back to mid lane. They got C9 to run back and forth across the map, but Team Liquid said, just kidding, mid lane is ours, and that's going to lose so much health.
Pressure gained. Look at everyone on Cloud9 sitting back at their turrets. There is a wave clear discrepancy, however slight, in the favor of Team Liquid. Corki pushing well, Victor pushing well. Cloud9 struggling to keep up.
Yeah, Vayne, Orianna. Orianna's good, Vayne not as much. Special walks forward, bullies him away. Lemonation going to tank up for this turret quite
Cloud9
nicely.
has to respect this because X Special could always flash on a Sneaky.
3 more
or
hits.
Incarnation.
There's the jump in. Incarnation with the stun available. More knockbacks. The kill picked up, but Piglet will burn to death. Sneaky flashes, chases, and it's actually 2 kills for Cloud9 as a trade for that turret getting dangerously low.
Yeah, that was actually really awesome by Sneaky. He kind of expected them to take the free kill onto Alistar in the backline, but he flashes into multiple people knowing their spells are on cooldown to get that. Team Liquid actually doesn't finish off the turret. It was a sliver away, and Cloud9 wins the trade despite Team Liquid initiating the fight.
350 health left on that turret, plus the 30-point shield on top of it. So
really big sliver.
Yeah, I mean, it is a big sliver. But it is so low.
Yeah, look at that. Incarnation. I love the combo. Headbutt into Gragas ultimate. He goes down, but honestly, Piglet took a bunch of damage prior to that, and then Sneaky dashes right out of there to avoid the damage.
Yeah. Incarnation did a lot of work there. Big ignite on the Corki. That went well, even despite him getting pushed around. So good things here. Cloud9 finding ways to claw back in. We have a 1,000 gold game before us. That's rather close here as Quas also plays for the same exact build as last time, Hexdrinker Cowl. This time around Ninja Tabby, he is definitely afraid of the Vayne.
Yeah, both games 1 and 2 in this series, if you're just joining us now, have been very close for the first 20 minutes, and then they've broken in a big way.
Yeah.
Cloud9 won the first game in about 30 minutes. Team Liquid won the next game in just under 30. So we're tied at 1-1, and this game 3 is, in a lot of senses, similar to game 1 and 2. We're just waiting for the big break. Next Dragon is up in 40 seconds. That could very well be the team fight that decides it.
And so as that happens, let's recount what items have come through. Who's got the power spikes? Who's the big deal? Well, guess what? Rumble's level 12, so rank 2 ulti. Leandri's Torment done as well. That's a big deal.
Yeah.
It's not like Gnar gets any big power spikes here, so Ball's super online right now.
Interesting how he's gone with the Null Magic as well. Not a very common item for Rumble, but he's really respecting the damage from Phoenix's Victor and the amount of magic damage the Corki puts up. So he wants a little bit of durability on his Rumble at this point in the game as well.
He's half between Arm Guard and Abyssal, and he's like kind of deciding which one he really wants.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like. Oh, Balls is TPing up somewhere else, but he's getting hit up by Piglet, losing a ton of HP. But there's a team fight in the mid lane. High wants it, and Dominant gets disrupted by Xpecial and won't find his way in. Balls has yet to pop the ulti and did not find the target. He could have maybe tagged Dominate, but I'm not sure where he TP'd to exactly, so maybe he wasn't in range after all. Piglet will clear away this pink ward to the side. Mid lane outers will be gone.
Basically, that was a team fight that High just called because the teleport was channeling right as High was going in with his parallel convergence down. He got a stun on I Will Dominate. Basically, Balls came in the back of the fight because Team Liquid didn't choose to engage with it. So it's kind of just a teleport down. Not many ultimates blown since the fight was successfully disengaged.
There was a perfect explosive cast by Dominate that exploded as Rumble came into the fight. Like literally maybe a quarter of a second between Rumble appearing and getting out of this one.
Yeah, this is that engage we were just talking about. So High props the parallel convergence up, gets the stun as the teleport is channeling, but you can see the teleport, the stun wears out on I Will Dominate, and he puts Balls right in the back of the fight. If he'd known how low he was, he might have wanted to knock him the other direction so his team could finish him off and get a kill. Even so, they get the Dragon out of the exchange.
All right, Dragon 1 now for each of these teams. Dominate chased out by Sneaky. Thank you very much. 2-0-1. TP canceled by Quas. Cannot help keep the team alive. And very interesting battle all said and done. Cloud9 clawing a little bit back in gold, and now looking for a Baron play with a jungler dead and a Vayne. This could work.
Jungler down. They know the teleport is down for Quas, so it's a long run. If they fully commit to this, they could burst it down, but they're in between choices right here. That's just zone out. They want to finish this Baron and then fight.
Can they get it? 800 out. There it is. Smite comes through for High. Hasn't missed one yet. Xpecial in the sights goes down. Balls gets the kill on this. He's done on the team well enough. 2 kills plus Baron. Cloud9 looking real good in the mid game.
Yeah, Team Liquid needs to be careful right here. This is the moment where the game could break against them. They got caught off guard by that Baron rush from Cloud9 using the Blade of the Ruined King Vayne very intelligently to go in. But in that instance, Xpecial should have known to pull back. He had no ultimate. His team wasn't there. Their jungler was down. The team fight was going to be lost regardless, so they end up only losing one because the rest of the team didn't follow. But they need to be able to stall throughout this Baron because this is the moment in the game where Cloud9 wants to pull ahead.
So with a 1,000 gold lead and medium to mediocre actual pushing power, Orianna and Vayne are okay at best at it. We'll see what Cloud9 can do now with the Baron buff for the next 2.5 minutes. How much can they take over? They're actually still waiting to get mid lane outer.
Yeah.
Corki's pushing waves in. Vayne doing the exact same on the other side of the map, though.
Yeah, typically when you get the Baron buff, it's kind of used as the way of getting the inner turrets in the game. It's actually pretty rare that you can get a Baron when there's still an outer turret in the game. If they get a good push going just due to the strength of Baron minions, they would even be able to sweep 2 turrets right up the mid lane. We'll see how well Phoenix can do to clear this wave and how hastily and willing to commit Team Liquid is to the defense.
Well, the gold, again, is only 1,000 apart, so of course Baron buff does grant you a nice chunk of attack damage and ability power, but raw combat stats are not too far away. You can see mid lane easily cleared. Cloud9 are not even trying to knock down that. Instead, it's Sneaky splitting the top side with enough wards to actually not enough wards to feel comfortable. He does not really see this jungle right now. Elimination going to be there to help keep that alive.
Yeah, they also have Rumble in a side lane with no teleport, so they do not want to commit to much.
So Cloud9 mostly getting farm out of this Baron then in map positioning. This might turn into some deep wards, which can play more for the long con. Incarnation and High showing back to the mid lane, getting a bit of damage down, and now the wards are enough that they feel safe about this one. The attempted stun from High scares Team Liquid a little bit, and mid lane down to half. Balls still pushing into the bot lane, but instead of C9 coming and joining the bot lane, it's Balls who's gonna actually, oh, he is gonna head in.
Yeah,
wow,
they're actually trying a 1-3-1 split push right here, which theoretically is the best approach since you're empowering all 3 waves of Baron minions, but realistically it leaves you very vulnerable to engages. Instead, they actually use a Braum ultimate on Piglet for no gain, making one of their main disengages down.
Yeah.
Even more dangerous for Cloud9 to maintain a 1-3-1 right here.
And that means the mid lane gets cleared yet again. Sneaky finally making some headway in this top side, though. Looks like Quas lost a trade with his magic resist stacking and does not feel good about this fight anymore. Sneaky does make it happen. Top lane tier 2 goes down. The split push does succeed finally.
Yeah, there's no way for for Gnar to clear these side wave minions against the Vayne, who's stacking the wave up, so that's the reason you go for a 1-3-1. But really, Team Liquid needs to group quickly with 4, leave the Rumble in one place, and fight in the mid lane if they want to actually defend this. But even so, Cloud9 gets some positive out of their split.
All right, Team Liquid unable to find a lane to actually go gank. The wards actually weren't that good from Cloud9, but the pressure in mid at least kept Team Liquid honest, it looked like, and no pressure had. So Baron is going to time out. 1 turret is the spoils of war for Cloud9 as a result, putting them about 2,000 gold ahead. Both teams will now steal away the blue buff. C9 just took the one on the left side. Team Liquid now gets this one. And both went to the correct member of the team, I do believe. And now Team Liquid going to reset.
Death cap completed for Incarnation. Did a nice power spike. Also interesting that Sneaky snuck in a little bit of magic resist with his Hex Drinker. He built a lot
this month.
Yeah, this month it seems like a lot of more AD carriers are doing it. Sneaky did it yesterday as well in one of his games.
Niels did it in the finals.
He built a Maw of Mount Mortius.
Yep.
On Trist.
Double Phantom Dancer, Maw, Infinity Edge, Bloodthirster, and Last Whisper was the full build. Pretty much, you can't get more damage than that.
Only 30 magic resist on the Hex Drinker, but they will have some aid from shielding. There's a face in the mountain.
Yeah. If you count the shield, it's close to Spectre's Cowl's durability. Yeah. It's fairly close.
But I mean, if Spectre's Cowl and a shield is even more durability.
That's true.
It's mainly for the mix of durability plus damage, and Sneaky trying to maximize on both. Very much a transitional item, I would say. It gives him the right amount of power now, but I mean, if you're talking about max builds, I feel like it's suboptimal.
Yeah, it's hard to like Maw over Banshee's Veil. Vayne does have damage enough already, but we'll see what happens. It's going to be interesting to watch. He's looking to sneak around in the jungle, but he's going to get spotted out by wards doing so. So Team Liquid are aware of the rotations. Gnar alone to the top side. Quas getting some farm. Piglet getting caught out, has to dodge away. Finally, Valkyrie's out just in time, but the damage still coming through. Big stun maybe? High's not going to come through. Piglet flash just to be safe. Didn't have to.
Yeah, this means the Dragon is all but Cloud9's, except that there's a steal from Owl Dominate. It was close last time. Not going to happen.
Not going to get it here. No smite even used, actually, as High had used it in the battle against Piglet for the slow itself. But top lane still getting pushed in. Quas getting plenty of farm. 202 on him. Doing what he can to be a big split push threat in this game. Balls from the top lane, and I want to know how good this battle is because Balls with a lot of ability power. Quas has already built towards armor, but look at that fight! Stuns him into the wall! The W as well, and oh man, Quas
many
was a lot.
stuns. Phoenix as well!
Oh, dear Lord. Phoenix shows up. Special as well. Lemonation's next. What a great play by Team Liquid. Solid rotation, solid pickoff.
Yeah, Cloud9 heavily punished there for their lack of ward coverage in the top lane. We were talking about how they had some pretty lax ward coverage prior to that, and they spent a lot of time prepping the Dragon. Balls, honestly, really should not have gone back in for anything. He just had Lemonation on his back foot, and obviously Phoenix rotating through the completely fogged jungle gets an easy kill on the Balls, and the team follows for Lemonation.
Man, that was awesome. Team Liquid spent the last 4 minutes licking their wounds, waiting out the Baron, saying, all right, you on the map, it's fine, just plotting their revenge, and then lo and behold, 29 minutes in, big play to the top lane. Yes, Sneaky was able to split push and get one back, but Team Liquid now really closing that gold gap here. Baron spawns in 20, Liquid gets plenty of farm.
Yeah, I mean, still really close game. They, like you said, managed to withstand the snuck Baron from Cloud9, and because of the turrets they were able to take and the Baron being down, not to mention the death cap completion onto Phoenix, it is kind of back to being anyone's game. The only thing we do have to really mention is the efficiency of Sneaky's build at this exact moment.
Yeah.
Having the Last Whisper means he is a really big threat to kill anyone. Alistair with his ultimate can be shredded by the Silver Pulse, even Quas with his Random Zoman, and Ninja Tabi can be shredded by the True Damage as well as Last Whisper. So unless Sneaky is focused on pretty early, he's got a big chance to carry a fight. And it's Cloud9 looking for one.
Ulti comes across. Oh, a full whiff. It lands in a slow zone, which will help. And here comes Gnar the Flash. He's going to get a couple, but not a ton of damage. And there's a big equalizer. High heals up and tries to sit in the front line. A 5-man pulverize. They pull in high. They will kill off the Echo. He's been ulting very early, but the shotgun comes through. Hits on a 2. They've picked off the enemy support. Now 2 tanks are missing, but Balls the next casualty as Phoenix stays alive in the back. Sneaky fighting Piglet. The shield is in.
Are you kidding me?
Holy moly, a 2 for 2. But Lemon's next in line. Sneaky cannot beat Phoenix. It's a 3 for 2. The Team Liquid win.
Wow, Team Liquid barely comes out on top in that one, but no thanks to Sneaky with some crazy outplays in the back half of that fight. Initially in that one, it wasn't a smart initiation for Cloud9, but within the duration of the fight, Sneaky did all he could to try and come out on top. Ultimately, though, he couldn't outplay Phoenix's ability to right-click with the Q and the auto attack. Watching the very start of this one, as we mentioned, Elimination whiffs his ultimate, so immediately is prompted, and it's a Mega Gnar. He transforms right as the teleport is going, so he comes in Mega. Doesn't actually get that good of a Gnar ultimate, and High lands a good stun on top of the equalizer, but it's on tanks. Note that Phoenix and Piglet are in the back of the fight free hitting because they have not really been touched, and it is a great idea by Piglet to realize Shockwave has been used, most CC is off the table, he can just go. Additionally, Sneaky has just been slowed by both a Gnar Boomerang and a Gragas Barrel. Instant stun, and this is where the play really comes in huge. Right as the stun is over, Lemon blocks the Piglet auto attack, and Sneaky can finish him off. Then, he actually dodges the Death Ray and the Victor ultimate, but he has a Q auto attack ready.
Yeah.
He right-clicked him. Sorry.
Wow. That's why actually I think Victor is good into Vayne. Anyone with point-and-click damage is just, it works against the champion very well. And it was a good play by Phoenix. 4-0 and 3. The death cap done. As much as we had a bunch of AP item changes, people actually buy death cap and void staff. I think too little actually. I'm glad to see Phoenix go back and buy this, buy his 3rd major item because I think it's mandatory. Yeah. And just he's belting out so much damage for the team. I would not be surprised to see Phoenix be the most damage to champions this game.
Yeah, that's usually the case when you play Victor as well. But specifically, a death cap on Victor is better than a death cap on most champions.
True.
His fully upgraded Hex score, which he has right now, gives 156 ability power, which as far as single items has the highest value of raw ability power of any item in League of Legends. So multiplying that with the 35% ability power you get from death cap is just the default best choice in every situation. Void Staff should also be next if he's looking to maximize damage.
Well, the Amp Tome will build into it. We've already got that build actually for Incarnation, Death Cap, Void, and Team Liquid, you can see from this graph, have clawed their way back into this one. It's still, of course, very, very close between the two of them. Cloud9 sitting just 600 gold ahead. You can see what's next on the table. Team Liquid are going to take away ward control for this next Baron. C9 sit 2 Dragons to 1. That's a nice thing for them. It's hard to imagine Dragon 5 being the victory condition, but you never know. Crazy games have happened in League of Legends, and having that in your back pocket can just really feel a lot more comfortable.
Yeah. I'm interested in this Brutalizer that Piglet's picked up. It seems really out of place.
That's really out of place.
Yeah.
I mean,
get some CDR, but
CDR.
Beyond that, really not much. There's so much mixed damage on the Corki anyway. He doesn't get too much DPS from auto attack, and the Last Whisper is usually the choice. But there are pretty low armor values on some of the targets he's looking to be hitting, so maybe he's hoping for that power spike. I mean, both Sneaky and Piglet have gone for somewhat mid-tier items in the middle of their builds.
So, doing quick math, if he does Yomu's I-Edge Trinity Force and then has a Zeke's, that's 95 crit, I believe. So he's like finding a crit item that like matches. I don't think it's correct, but it's what he's kind of got there.
Oh, Sneaky's got to be careful.
And he's going to back away. Hey, he's going to be safe. Tries to get the Dragon. That's not going to happen there. Team Liquid realize they can get Dragon on time. They already had ward control over Baron, so it's easy.
There was a slight flank position for Balls if he wanted to come in behind. That's still a little bit open, but it would be a really risky initiation. And Cloud9's been bitten a couple times with some poor initiations.
Yeah, and Quas is like basically Mega Gnar.
But even so, Balls is still thinking about it. He gets pinged.
Quas actually bought Elixir of Ruin last time around. It's timing out right now. It gives bonus health for a team fight, but also gives turret damage. And if he's being a primary split pusher, that can definitely help out. It buffs the minions as well, I do believe.
It does. It makes the minions do more damage to turrets.
I assume it affects Rot Portal minions as well. Not that he would buy it.
Yeah, interesting. I wonder.
He's got a Chain Vest, so unless that's GA, there's that tiny chance. That's probably Thornman.
Yeah, probably.
But, you know, whatever. All right, here we move in. Another Baron attempt for Cloud9.
This
they
time,
have
though,
vision out.
this is much more dangerous. It can easily be teleported
Lemon's-
in on him. Lemon cannot peel for the Vayne if we do see a fight. Hyde then counter engages on Phoenix.
Does not find the stun on Phoenix, so he's going to ult right back out, but it's on top of Special. Equalizer buys a little bit of time, and Piglet has to run back, but there's the kill. I Will Dominate goes down. Ball's buying time with the Zhonya's Hourglass, and now Quas beset by Sneaky.
Whoa, and a shockwave!
Two! Special goes down. He can't land the headbutt or the pulverize. It's a 2 for 0. Cloud9's Baron bait works.
Yeah, the ultimate right there from Phoenix did a lot of work, and the Baron bait will continue. It's still a Piglet and a Phoenix that are alive, and a TP up. This is just disaster waiting to happen.
But High's already dead. There's no jungler. Lemonation's 1 hit away as well. He's got to run. The re-engage, a bit too aggressive from Cloud9.
Yeah, well, they have been playing very aggressively around Baron these last 3 days, so no real surprise there. They end up coming away from this a little bit of a zero-sum. Not much was learned about this, except everyone gets more items from all the kills that are happening. Sneaky, 4-1-4, got a couple of kills there. Phoenix, though, also unkilled this fight. Watching it again, they really commit pretty hard in elimination on the top, but then have to peel back because the fight is brewing down bottom. High goes hard for the initiation right off the bat, trusting he can ult back, which is true. A somewhat non-ideal equalizer, but I really did appreciate the focus for Cloud9 onto I Will Dominate while the equalizer was down, because even though the equalizer didn't hit the squishies of Team Liquid, it made it so they couldn't push forward. Then Incarnation is subtle enough with his ball placement that Piglet walks over it. It's one of the only ways you land shockwaves on really good players. Or if it's in fog.
Man, Summoner Heal used. Ulti pop, Ruin King for the heal, but it's not going to be enough, or is it? Piglet finally goes down. Incarnation gets it with the ball.
That is massive. Finally, they can get the outer tier turret. I wish they would have saved that equalizer for a more apt moment. Now their Baron force is greatly diminished, but they still get the turret.
It slowed Phoenix. It got on the outer turret. Finally, 37 minutes for mid lane outer is how well Phoenix has been wave clearing all game and keeping that from being pressured. Same CS on both the mid laners here.
Yeah.
And Cloud9 head on over to
All right, so no Shockwave, no Rumble ultimate, no Braum ultimate. Cloud9 actually not that strong despite the Team Liquid team being down an 80 carry. High still wants it.
And it forces Phoenix's flash away because the chase down's so good. Sneaky
Final
bots
hour
in
popped.
on Special, who pops the ulti. Victor's going to buy some time. Explosive Cask as well. Ult for ult.
Yeah, Sneaky not having the stealth for the next team fight could be pretty critical, and there's a monster wave in the bottom lane brewing. Cloud9's going to have to go and deal with that, and they do not have teleport. So this is actually going to turn into a power play for Team Liquid around the Baron area.
Shove mid, rotate bottom could actually be very clutch.
They can get a lot of stuff right here if they shove mid or just rotate to Baron and take it, because they know there's some key cooldowns down for Cloud9.
Yeah, no teleports for either top laner means getting across the map is always going to be a bit difficult. Team Liquid instead say we can take blue buff off this as we own the mid and bottom lane, and that's a decent steal too.
Yeah, much safer objective.
That's true.
One would say. Baron versus blue buff, what do you want?
I don't know.
Mana's really nice.
The blue buff can move. I can miss skill shots on that.
Well, this game is still incredibly competitive.
Yeah.
He completed his maw. He also picked up an Elixir Wrath. So everyone really relying on the elixirs pretty heavily at this point. It's needed since every fight could be the last.
Right, Piglet is going Infinity Edge. That's, I think, very correct here. It's interesting that he didn't go for the last one for Power Spike. It's actually a very solid third item on Corki. Getting that Power Spike is actually DPS optimal against most targets, just because it comes in earlier, and it's cheaper. But Infinity Edge definitely wants to be in any end game build. We'll see as Piglet progresses, but he is still 1,100 gold away from actually being able to finish that item, which makes Whisper actually the better buy right now.
Yeah.
And with teams fighting for Baron, that's actually a bit of a strange choice.
Yeah, and also Team Liquid is putting more of their power into their primary 2 carries. Quas actually had, maybe we have a fight coming soon. Yes, sorry, Team Liquid actually had a Bilgewater Cutlass on Quas, maybe he was going to be going into Blade of the Ruin King for split pushing. But on the last back after the team fight, he sold it to pick up Thornmail and actually still has a chain vest on top of that. That's diminishing his damage and really increasing the priority Team Liquid has on their backline threat. I don't know about that because Sneaky's going to be able to shred whoever, especially when he finishes his itemization.
Yeah.
But here we go.
Okay, here they go. Oh, dear Lord, he does get out for now, but he's taking plenty of damage. Echo comes back. Explosive Cask will not kill out Sneaky, and the battle resumes with focus onto Xpecial. The Equalizer comes across and pushes them around. Phoenix one hit away, and it's 2 kills for Cloud9. Sneaky lived, and the rest of the team is putting in a whole bunch of work. 2 for 0, everyone's safe.
Really nice shockwaves by Incarnation. And Sneaky didn't quite get knocked down. The Maul of Malmortius, the face of the Mountain Shield potential, the Braum Shield, he barely lives through that one. I mean, it looked like such a clean start for them. Quas then ults balls on the side. This is looking ugly.
Not really enough. Of course, Quas is very tanky, but Piglet now hit up by the Q. Elimination very durable right now with all these shields on high. Goes in as well. Can he land the passive? The third tick is still coming. There's Exhaust. Piglet goes down. That's 3 kills in a row. Quas is next. That's going to make it 4. And Cloud9 just own the map.
13 kills to 9 right now. Death timers are pretty long for Cloud9. Dragon is alive, but Baron is the name of the game for Cloud9. Nobody died in either of those 2 fights, and they should be able to take this pretty clean. Let's see what I Will Dominate thinks about it.
Yeah, Dom is alive with Sightstone not having charges. He can't get vision. He's got Smite, and Sneaky is on the hunt. Normally you want an AD carry to hit Baron, but Sneaky's got a knockback. Sneaky can guarantee he's not around, and that's it gonna be picked up. Nicely done. Cloud9 get Baron number 2 and an 8,000 gold lead.
These fights are still very competitive and close. It's really just coming down to the mid-fight execution because we know Team Liquid has a pretty strong tank line and Cloud9 has some tank shredding, but what's turning these fights is Cloud9's ability to kill Team Liquid's damage dealers. Watch Phoenix in this fight. He is so fed on Victor that he cannot take free damage, but there's the Orianna ball from Incarnation just kind of chilling there. As soon as Phoenix moves away from the Equalizer, there's only one way he's going to go. So Incarnation smartly places the ball on the side he's going to juke, gets the shockwave down. That's so many of these players can dodge the shockwave quite easily, but in this particular instance, there's only one way Phoenix is going to go, and the prediction was beautiful. They get the Dragon after the Baron as well.
It's very interesting to see as well. Balls is always choosing to put the ulti onto the back line of Team Liquid. He's always looking for Phoenix or Piglet. He's not content just shredding Quas or Dominate. It's
They're really trusting Sneaky's ability to shred the tank line on Vayne as long as he's not getting bursted out, and that's honestly how you want to play around Vayne in a lot of instances.
Yeah, it works out beautifully. Yeah, if Phoenix can't fight, no one stops the Vayne. So interesting heads-up play by these guys high. Tank as he can. 5, 2, and 5. The kill leader on his team, actually. On tank, Echo doing good things. The Gragas steal actually not really keeping high for being effective in this game. Baron number 2. Cloud9 got a single turret from the last Baron buff. They're looking to knock down some inhibitor turrets next as the rest of the ones outside the base are already gone.
Yeah, still a pretty close game, 7,000. Team Liquid definitely not out of this one yet. Yeah. They know, I mean, I'm actually a little disappointed that Phoenix is going for a Zhonya's Hourglass instead of a Lich Bane for his last item. Because I'm seeing, you know, no Banshee's Veil on Sneaky. If he ever does want to kill him, a Lich Bane Q auto attack would be the way to do it since he can juke everything else. Yeah. Instead he's going for some raw damage in his Zhonya's to maybe stop some of the damage coming down on him. But specifically, Team Liquid is beginning to lack some damage in a very serious way. Corki's falling off. He really needs that Infinity Edge so the Zeke's Harbinger crits can start coming in. If Phoenix can't dodge the shockwaves, Team Liquid completely runs out of damage. Whereas Cloud9 has the 3 solid threats coming through, including the Rumble.
Right now, yeah. So I found a comparison point finally. Ma has the exact same defensive stats for yourself as Locket minus the active. It's 400 health and 40 MR as the total stats you gain defensively, for what it's worth.
Yeah, very true. And it looks like Sneak is going to be going... It's interesting. He has the Zeke's Harbinger, so an Infinity Edge would mean maximum damage. But with the way this game is playing out, if he goes double Bloodthirster, or double Lifesteal with the Bloodthirster and a Maw Shield, he could become really unkillable.
Yeah, I think that's actually...
to dive. So like either one of these builds could actually turn into some success for Sneaky. I wonder which direction he will go if we get to the max item point.
I do like the lifesteal because he's got other threats on his team. He doesn't really need the crit.
I've seen a lot of Vaynes go for double lifesteal lately. Yeah. I really think it's trending as a build because of the niche that Vayne is filling on these teams. I like that build personally.
Yeah, I think it totally works out here. Sneaky Going to make his way up the top lane with the rest of his team. All 5 members of Cloud9 hanging around, but Team Liquid going to be there to defend pretty soon as well. They hold up right in front of the inhib turret. And as the Baron buff is gone. I'm checking for a member. Yeah, it's gone. So no easy push groups. And again, it's only 2 ranged champions on this team, Vayne and Orianna. It's fairly hard to knock down turrets with this crew.
Yeah.
They don't have a great split pusher. Vayne can't teleport.
Yep. And unless Cloud9 wins a team fight in a really clean fashion, I think we're in for a very long game. We've already seen that the Baron buff doesn't really do anything to crack inhibitor turrets, and they're only sitting on 3 dragons, so their willingness to take a fight on a Nexus turret, or sorry, an inhibitor turret, is low. It is the Bloodthirster we see from Sneaky, so
I dig
the full lifesteal build. And he'll still be getting some nice crits out of Zeke's Harbinger. They just won't be Infinity Edge empowered.
Yeah.
Doesn't need those necessarily. We're max items on Incarnation as well.
Yeah.
Really,
Hyla's his last choice.
really, Piglet is the one falling behind in the itemization curve. His items are obviously more expensive. Infinity Edge and Triforce, 2 of the most expensive items you can build on an AD.
You know, as we're talking about max damage builds, by the way, the actual correct choice once Last Whisper comes in for Piglet is to, actually beforehand as well, sell Triforce for a Phantom Dancer. The actual sell cost is the same as the buy cost, but once you have Infinity Edge and like other real combat items, Triforce's proc means much, much less, and Extrait means so much more.
Yeah.
And against all targets, DPS goes up.
You lose a little bit of utility.
Yeah, you lose move speed, you lose health. Like, those are obviously valuable statistics, but if you come down to a gear check, PD is superior.
He's pretty far from that point right now.
Yeah.
It would require a pretty hefty Team Liquid stall to get there.
There's Pickaxe, so he's 1,300 gold away from his Last Whisper being done. And Piglet's got a ways to go. He's only got 3 kills and 2 assists. Sneaky's had a much better game so far based on the climate he's been in. His team's winning. All nice things to have. Zeke's Harbinger done on both these guys. Actually, that diminishes the value of Phantom Dancer a little bit, in that he's already got
he's
30 crit chance right now. So then Shiv might be worth it. But either way, we move forward. Cloud9 have not been able to get much done with the Baron buff. Still those same 6 turrets. In fact, both teams have the exact same turret kills here. Cloud9 just have more objective kills neutrally on the map.
And really, we need to think about what's happened in this game so far. Cloud9 has had a lot of success playing around the Baron pit. They've been able to get some nice choke points where balls can get good zones off of Equalizer, which is allowing Incarnation to land shockwaves. Also, Sneaky has only died 1 time. And that was in a very extended fight. So Team Liquid's ability to reach him and kill him is very low. Add that to the fact that he's packing a ton of lifesteal right now. An overshield from Bloodthirster, and an emergency shield from Malmortius. So he is really difficult to kill unless he gets completely caught out.
Yeah, and it's still 3 damage threats from C9. Like, there's just so much damage coming out, holding the front line just feels really good for them.
And Cloud9 is posturing very aggressively. If they land a Braum Q onto a priority target, like a Victor, expect a near immediate initiation. Because Cloud9 actually really wants to put pressure on Victor, since he is realistically the only one to kill Sneaky. So if they zone him out of the fight, Sneaky can kill everyone else.
Here's the tense moment then as they battle back and forth in mid lane. Team Liquid not really backing down from the battle.
Sneaky's actually going for Dragon, and the rest of Cloud9 had to pull back up a long way around mid lane. They just got spotted in a ward, so if there was ever a window, it would be now.
Orianna as well as Echo a bit farther, kind of around the sides. Team Liquid now pushed into the middle here, and there's the engage. Is Equalizer coming? Not just yet. Dragon number 4 picked up for Cloud9. Echo forced to flash away. He's still doing battle on the side. Sneaky had to run, nearly goes down, and a knockback goes through to balls, but Special's dead first. Sneaky is still alive, running from the Chaos Storm. The battle continues as Dom is very low, but does get away. But Dragon and a 1-for-0 C9.
Story of the game for Team Liquid X. Special flashes onto Sneaky, gets the knockup, headbutts him backwards, but the rest of Team Liquid could not bring adequate follow-up because an Equalizer was zoning them out of the fight. Nice Equalizer 5 balls, really saving Sneaky's skin, and at least a 1-for-0.
Skin nearly gets skinned right there, actually. Also looks to dominate. All's well. All right. You can see, yeah, C9 able to take a couple more graces this game, and in fact, even though High is top lane right now, he can join his team near Baron. Team Liquid look pretty afraid of fighting.
Yeah, even High is arguably at max items. You could still go Ruby Sightstone or something, but he's pretty strong. Teleporting in while they still have X Special down, so the initiation is pretty lackluster from Team Liquid as well as the vision. It's another Baron going to Cloud9.
Baron at number 3. Cloud9 playing the neutral objectives correctly, and Sneaky able to get away from scary fights without even flashing last time around. 4-1 and 7. Furor Boots now on him as well. And he does the right thing. He sells a Shiv for a Fan Advancer, so even higher damage now on him.
Yeah, he is doing the work on Vayne, justifying the pick priority that has been shown for Vayne throughout the first 3 games of this series. But that is, got to remember, that's the 3rd Baron. They really, aside from the gold, have not been getting many advantages from it. Even with Baron-empowered minions, Victor's death ray does so much damage, and the fact that he can gravity field the minions on their way in to sometimes get multiple cycles of spells off makes it really hard to push against him. Add that to the fact that Cloud9 doesn't have a true damage tank like Alistar to stop the turret damage when they go in. It makes it hard. Now High, though, near max items, is posturing very aggressively. Let's see how many hits they can realistically get on this turret, or if they're going to play a 5-dragon game.
Well, it's down to half right now. Incarnation waiting in the wings. He does not want to be near the Vayne, but an Alistar comes in for that one. A zoning shield from High, down to 400 health, and the cannon min is still hitting it, actually.
Yeah. Tremendous progress made on the turret right there, but now Quas is going to be Mega for the next wave. He's got a 15-second timer there where he's going to be in Meganar and has his flash up for a potential fight engage. Let's see if they decide to give up this turret and probably inhibitor to Cloud9. Turret goes down.
Looks like they've got to, especially on a 1,000 health. Sneaky cheekily going for a couple of hits. Doesn't go too far in, though. He's totally safe, but now it's the tank's gone. The crit nearly kills out special. The red buff still taking him down. Will survive, but the inhibitor is gone. Cloud9 earned that off the siege, off the scare of High engaging.
Yeah, Sneaky playing with a lot of gusto right now. He knows X Special's flash is down from the previous fight, and Sneaky also knows he has his flash up. He's probably expecting his ability to flash a Gnar ultimate if it comes through, because that's the only thing that could have caught him in that situation in any meaningful way, or even the Gragas ultimate from a flash. So Sneaky playing with a lot of guts, but it's justified because of his ability to outplay us so far.
That's what kind of damage you can take, though. It completely destroys the Bloodthirster shield in one attack from Piglet, I believe.
So many minions coming through. Cloud9 trying to push this Mega Wave.
High has Guardian Angel, ults back, and he's going to stay alive for now. He can still rewind time with the GA if he gets taken down for realsies. He's going to be all right. 5-kill lead still, Cloud9. Again, have the middle inhibitor. They've got the next dragon in about 3.5 minutes, I believe.
Yeah. But even Cloud9's own waves aren't in perfect management right now. There's a giant wave that Balls is going to go clear. He needs this wave to go to death cap. In all reality, anytime Cloud9 can give farm to Balls right now, they should, because everyone else meaningfully is maxed. Maybe they give a bit of farm to Lemonation, actually, so he can complete his Guardian Angel and they can get a double GA fight. But honestly, it's looking like a 5th Dragon game and maybe a 4th Baron game if Cloud9 wants to close this.
That might be the case. 2 minutes on Dragon respawning now. Cloud9, at this point, I think you just play for that vision. The Elimination down in the southern jungle, getting wards up, sweep away what he can. 3 sweepers on the team, all 3 get used. They'll be back in time for the Dragon respawning. Can really make sure it's blacked out. In Team Liquid, I feel like it seems like they have to contest this Dragon. C9 will have Dragon 5 during a potential Baron fight. They can overlap those buffs and push another inhibitor down with it. But I don't think Team Liquid can fight that.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to try the same recipe they've tried in every other fight. They need to get on to Sneaky. You can expect a flash from X Special. You can expect X Special to knock him back. And we'll see if they can fight through the Shockwave and the Equalizer that's been stopping the Squishies from being able to follow up, because the tanks themselves do not have the damage to take down Sneaky. They have to give either Piglet or Phoenix some free time on a Sneaky if they want to take him down. And as of yet, that has not happened in any fight. So big uphill battle for Team Liquid if they want to win this game and be 1 win away from Worlds.
That might be the case. Ooh, bit of damage on a Dominate.
Oh, he is
over
so
oh,
done for.
Dear Lord, he's gone. That's a 1 for 0, and here comes the chase. Equalizer catches 3. Braum ulti flashed out, but Team Liquid forced to run away. 30 seconds on Dragon. Dom will not be up for that. Mid inhibitor's dead, and C9 choosing between pushing a base or going back and taking Dragon.
questionable decision there for I Will Dominate. He was thinking of actually catching the Rumble out of position when all signs have pointed to Sneaky being the priority, but honestly, Rumble has been the one zoning in the team fight, so maybe you can justify it. But when you miss the play and also don't have vision over the wall that he is body slamming towards, he is just setting himself up to fail. So poor choice there by Dominate, and it will mean 5th Dragon for Cloud.
Okay, well, they're letting Dragon stay alive as Sneaky is the one soloing it. A 4-man siege, they feel comfortable doing this. Team Liquid don't quite seem aware that the Vayne is missing as they are not engaging anything. Quad loses health, there's Dragon 5 picked up, and Baron's in 145. They can overlap them for about 1 minute.
Yeah,
if they want to.
It's going to be tricky because they want the Baron minions so they have time at turrets, but the timing of the 5th Dragon won't be that perfect. Like you said, only having about a minute to overlap. It means they'll take the Baron and then they'll immediately have to go into a push instead of wasting time on the Baron-empowered recall and have a very small window to move in to the base.
And we're hitting max items basically everywhere now. Final items come through across. Infinity Edge does get added to the build. He drops Blade of the Ruin King for it, so Sneaky's playing pretty much a conventional AD carry build at this point. I think you should keep Boots, though. He needs the movement speed as Vayne just to kite around, so this would be one game you don't sell Boots for damage.
Yep, absolutely. He's been max items for a while.
Yeah.
The only thing he'd ever change,
he went Shiv for PD and then Ruin King for Infinity Edge.
Yeah.
And maybe you drop Ma for a Banshees or a QSS.
Honestly, it's a less defensive build now that he's gotten rid of the Blade of the Ruin King.
Yeah, it is.
But
it is.
Boy, does he hit hard.
Yeah, he does. Max crit with Zeke's. Ton of attack damage on him. Plenty of attack speed as well. And C9 chooses to stay around. Now max items are on ball as well. Deathcap came through. Ruby Sightstone just got sold for Righteous Glory from High. And the GA is in with a pink ward for elimination. That's actually the full support build, by the way, is pink ward in your 6th slot.
You mentioned that Ruby Sightstone going down. That means Cloud9 is just totally going for the dictation mode right now. It's no longer about catching them out because the ways in which Team Liquid will roam are so minimal at this point. It is a bit of a risk because maybe they get snuck attack on, but they're just looking for a fight, and that just absolutely telegraphs at the fact that a Sightstone is gone on the jump.
And with mid lane, this could be the chance. They're going to go in. High pops Righteous
There
Glory.
it
He
is.
wants Phoenix. And into the front line they go. Again, the Glacial Fissure whiffs. But it's okay because Phoenix is down. Balls makes the play, and Xpecial's next. He's not going anywhere. Goes for a pulverized. Piglet's available on the backside, but he's not hitting a single person here. Has to Valkyrie away from the wall, which means Dominate's an easy target. High is on the chase. The full tank Echo making the AD carry flash away from him. Dominate's gonna go down. That's an easy one for Incarnation. 18-9 in kills. Quas and Piglet to 2v1 High. The only members left alive, which means mid lane is still open, and Sneaky's already there.
Freak, this fight doesn't matter. High is just trying to body them because the game is over. 57 minutes, 5 Dragons, 96,000 gold and counting. Cloud9's going to be 1 game away from Worlds.
And here we go. There's the last turret. It took him an hour. Cloud9 wins game 1. Their backs have been against the wall for so terribly long, but this time they hold the series lead, and as you said, Jat, 1 game separates Cloud9 from their 3rd straight trip to Worlds.
Yeah, and superior team fighting won them that game. Now, they back the opponent into a wall. Team Liquid is now faced with an elimination game, so to speak. If they lose, their chance at Worlds is over. How many times has this team been 1 game away from Worlds? Well, now they're 2 games away from Worlds. They need to win just to be in that situation again.
Yeah.
It is a tough situation to face, and it was a great game by Cloud9. Sneaky played his heart out. Lemon missed a lot of Braum ultimates, but he still protected Sneaky with the shield, so it still counts.
And he bought a Zeke's Harbinger, so he increased his damage by 20% just by existing, so that's always solid as well. I mean, that was very interesting. I think the game, as you mentioned actually a little while ago, Jat, well, 30 minutes ago, this is going to be a very long game. C9 were winning but had no siege tools. Contrast to that, Team Liquid actually had good split pushing and sieging tools, but didn't really have a lead to do so with.
That's the most interesting thing is we lost picture temporarily, but we're back. Don't worry about it. It's the fact that Quas went so heavily into the team fight mode the instant he sold his Bilgewater Cutlass and built a Thornmail. That was a really defining moment in the game that meant Team Liquid could only team fight. No Blade of the Ruin King.
Yeah, no Blade of the Ruin King. The team fights went well for Cloud9, but guys, we've got more games coming up, and so to break down that game and the win by C9, I'm going to throw it over to our analyst desk.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. And Zyrene, I know you want to jump right into it, so take it away.
Yeah, Jat was just talking about Quas's builds there and how they really defined the game. He had Bilgewater Cutlass, but he had what you called the choose your own adventure build. Yeah. Because he was sitting on Bilgewater, after his Randuins, he had Boots, Randuins, Bilgewater Cutlass, Spectre's Cowl, Hexdrinker, and a Chainmail. He's full items, and the next completion you get is when you have over 1,500 gold. So you're sitting on so much gold, you're not getting these smooth, tanky power spikes where you're like, okay, I got a Ruby Crystal, I got a Kindle Gem.
Yeah, there's no place to feel good.
Now you keep having
there.
that smooth kind of incline, and then he just starts sitting on it while everybody else is getting all these AP items on the other team, and then he's prioritizing armor at that point. He sells the Bilgewater, no longer has split push pressure, and then he buys an armor item on top of it just to deal with Vayne when there's an Orianna and there's also a Rumble on the enemy team. So at that point, he basically pigeonholed himself into being up in Vayne's face and didn't have more options.
There are just too many things that he wanted to do, and that's the drawback of being drawn in too many different directions here. Yeah, Team Liquid once again not able to pull it out later in the game, and Cloud9 do take over. This comp that they were able to draft. Have you been converted to the early Vayne?
You got me there. Because early Vaynes, yes.
They
early Diamonds, no.
They draft the whole team around zone control so that Vayne has plenty of room to tumble around. Even if he gets flash pulled and knocked back, they have not only the equalizer, but every person on that team besides Vayne has a giant AoE ability, which they can control an area of the battlefield and ensure that Sneaky has places to move around. And then they just consistently fight over these neutral objectives. Just really good execution there from Cloud9, even though it was so close in the early game.
Yeah, and they have that zone control to keep them at the range and make sure they can't get in on him. But if he does get caught, they have the shield from Orianna, they have the Braum to get in the way, and then he prioritized a Hexdrinker
which happened multiple times
into a Maw of Malmortius very early on, so that he had that extra magic resistance, so he wasn't just completely blown up by Victor. And I liked that purchase from him.
Yeah, and the Echo pickup from High. Riv, you're talking about the stat there of High being the most diverse jungle, pulling out all these different champions, most in the North American LCS at least. The Echo pick was crucial because he could continually throw his body at Victor, and he had the confidence that he could go back in time as soon as he gets chunked out, and that was a main carry for Team Liquid that wasn't able to enter the fight.
Well, the fights were still very tight. I want to jump into the replay we have here. 31 minutes in, it was actually the one where you saw Lemon saving Sneaky on the Braum shield, but this is how tight these fights were. Kobe, if you want to take it.
All right, let's roll a replay then. Jump right into it. This is the one. Lemon Nation actually doesn't even hit the Braum ultimate, but it does split. Here comes the teleport there from Quas. That was key where he only got Lemon Nation with the Gnar ultimate. They've got so many AoE abilities. Balls is able to land a great equalizer, and they take down the front line really close. This is the big jump in here from Piglet, actually, to try and finish off Sneaky. They chunk him so low, but we saw it a couple times actually during the game. The 1v1 here. Everything comes in from Lemon Nation. Face of the Mountain Shield, plus able to block the auto. Then the problems arise when you get Victor. You dodge all of his abilities except the point and click.
What you were talking about, once that front line's gone, everybody that was zoning protecting for Sneaky goes down.
Yeah, and I think that Balls had a really aggressive play there where he tried to just burst out Phoenix. Phoenix still had his gravity field, places it down, flashes away, and Balls has nothing left. So that part of it kind of didn't go their way, and I feel like Phoenix had a good hold of this game into the mid-game, and then after that, he really fell off. The Hexdrinker shut him down, and they were just focusing him. They were saying, we don't need to do anything about Piglet, just get Phoenix off the field immediately. Incarnation, you saw him prioritizing damage onto Phoenix every time he was in range.
Yeah, they were even able to get picks in the mid-game using the Braum with the full range Braum ultimate. Lemon Nation able to land onto Piglet to gain them some of this map control that they were then able to use to control these neutral
It's about
objectives.
the ones that do hit far and few between, and they still count.
Yeah.
So I kind of want to take a look at this Vayne because we saw the same kind of aspect happen with Yasuo, and it's a little bit that both Piglet and Sneaky are good at Vayne, but a champion will almost like take over a series. We'll see it come in, and instead of being banned, you just want to get it. Why does that happen with teams? Why don't they just kind of get it off and make the other team really uncomfortable?
It's the series kind of meta. There's a meta for a series just that you come in.
Like we've seen it with Yasuo.
Yeah,
before.
there's always these like meta games in solo queue, and then there's the meta of the tournament, and then it's what is prioritized in the series. You've seen series where Azir is going back and forth, right? Where it's the priority pick. Some people are afraid to ban it because they feel like they do have something to play against it, right? You have the Draven in your pocket. Corki worked last game, but the fact that Cloud9 came in with a composition that is really, really good around this Vayne in a very different way than just protecting it, it's supplemented its damage as well, was a good adaptation. So taking it away is not always the right answer, because you do have ways to play around it.
Trying to focus it and use it. Kobe, looking forward to the next game, we've seen high shot calling be huge right now for Cloud9. Liquid's made a few blunders at the Barons. What are ways that they can avoid that?
I mean, Cloud9 have also had some touch-and-go Barons there when they're behind trying to go for these desperate Barons. But Cloud9, they keep going for these big plays no matter what the state of the game is, right? Team Liquid, they've just... What can they do? Well, they need to ward more and make better decisions towards the late game. It's something that we cautioned against coming into this series for Team Liquid, and a problem that might be the way that Cloud9 do take it. And so far, that's exactly how Cloud9 are winning.
Well, hopefully during this break, we saw Cloud9 chatting. Well, Team Liquid has found some momentum to bring now into Game 4, as Cloud9 is 1 point away from taking a trip to Worlds. We'll see if they can close out the series in Game 4. Don't go anywhere.
Let's make a story. We either go 2-0 here, so we reverse sweep them after going 0-1, or we let them go 2-0, so then we get so they reverse sweep us. You know?
Something like that.
Something like that. Something like that.
Phoenix as well! Oh, dear Lord. Phoenix shows up. Expecial as well. Lemon Nation's next. Sneaky fighting Piglet. The shield is in.
Are you kidding me?
There. Holy moly. A 2 for 2.
He's little. Dab. Kill dab. Careful. Alistar's up. Nar still little. Does Nar still have my ulti?
He flashed out.
Careful.
Victor in there.
Oh shit.
Got Alistair.
Go over here.
Equalizer comes across and pushes them around. Phoenix 1 hit away, and it's 2 kills for Cloud9. Sneaky lived, and the rest of the team is putting in a whole bunch of work. Balls makes the play, and Expecial's next. He's not going anywhere. Goes for a pulverized. Piglet's available on the backside, but he's not hitting a single person here. Their backs have been against the wall for so terribly long, but this time they hold the series lead